We are live in the Bulldog Dome. You are looking live in the Bulldog Dome.
Yes.
All right. It is the first. This is our first congregation of
25.
2025.
Definitely.
And
Absolutely.
I think we started. I think how many years? It was pre-pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about this iteration, but
Oh no. Well, there's been so many iterations.
Well, yeah, it's true. Back when we had dancing girls.
Those were the days. We used to get the swingers like Russ Meyer in here all the time when they were dancing girls.
That's right.
And cigars.
Shockingly, one of them was you. We were all very surprised to see you out there like a rockette. Like, don't kick so much, Jack. So anyway.
So what's going on in the library in 2020? Wait, you started by this. What is that?
It's called English breakfast tea. It's black tea. And I didn't have time to run for coffee. I was kind of sprinting around today, getting kids places and doing some work stuff. And I had a certain talk show I had to do at noon. So
do you like tea?
I'm not a huge fan, but I'll be damned. This one's really good.
Sometimes I am. The black teas, yeah. It's got some
because it's like coffee. It's basically tea's answer for coffee, and it's really good.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't had tea more. Sometimes it just doesn't go down well with me. It's something about the aftertaste or something funky.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with tea, and not all of it's good.
Well, both tea and coffee have been surprisingly crowned as healthy stuff to be having.
That's what they say. Yeah, although I think tea might be a bit better than coffee for you, apparently. But especially doing like the green teas and all those herbal things and everything. But there's an herbal I like called rooibos. Rooibos. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's a red-ish tea, and I like the flavor of it. And that stuff's supposed to make you live for an extra like 2,000 years.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to live in this world any longer than you have to?
I have to see every movie. I can't get them all in.
I have not been to the Java House enough to say, but they used to have like a blueberry
Sure.
Ruboy.
Don't hurt yourself.
There. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, excellent. I didn't know they had a blueberry. I bet that'd be good. I would actually like that a lot. I'll have to see if they still have it in their new iteration.
Even Snarlin' Arlen likes it.
Whoa, I bet that's amazing. All right.
Oh, he complains some days the water's not consistent.
Okay, that's better. I was a little worried at first, but now
don't worry. No, Arlen will be Arlen.
Well, let's play a theme because we haven't played that in a long time. Hang on.
Man.
Let's see if I remember how to do this. Okay. Wait a minute.
I gotta work on my straight arm dance.
Yeah, yes, you do. I already have it down, obviously.
I know.
But okay, here we go.
Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
There it is. All right.
There it is.
Wow.
So 2025, January's almost over. We just got to get through February, and that's a shorter month.
I just realized we're live, by the way. I was going to just record, but I was like, oh, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
We'll still play this tomorrow night at 7:00 with Dr. Ben, hopefully.
That's going to be the new plan.
That's the idea. But maybe I'll just do this live on Monday. Who gives a crap?
Well,
certainly not our viewers.
You can be a viewer. You can be you can do a repeat performance, play this
of course
with Ben mixed in. We did a great segment
Excelsior.
With AJ and the agent yesterday.
Oh yes, I saw.
Yeah, they were both on fire.
Yes,
it was fun. Doug was happy he won the fantasy football league
he was the big winner this year. Okay, very nice.
Yep,
excellent.
Yep, big time.
So spaghetti was had. Right?
I guess I wasn't invited.
It's part of the party. Another year, another non-invite.
Yes,
story of my life.
Speaking of spaghetti,
yeah.
What have you been eating these days? Anything good for you? Or no, you're just getting over being sick. So that's not really.
Yeah. That was great because I actually lost 12 pounds over my illness.
Really?
Yeah. I recommend highly whatever bug I had. I need you all to get it too, because if you're out to lose some weight, you won't want to eat for about 30 days.
Really?
Yeah. I ate a lot of oranges. That's about it. For some reason, oranges went down, but oranges and water.
Oranges, I see a lot of oranges out there now, and Tangelos. Do you know what those are?
Oh yeah, those little micro ones there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good.
And it's blood orange season.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I don't know where to buy though. I never see them around. Like pick
they
and
still
save.
call it pick and save. That's where I got them.
Okay. All right. I'll have to look for them.
Some might insist on calling themselves Kroger, but I've got something that'll help you put a few pounds back on. I came across a recipe. It came out of this question. How exactly did pound cake get its name?
There we go. Anyway, pound cake. Well, it's dense. It's wet.
Ooh.
Beyond that, I don't know. density and moisture.
According to the Takeout, which does great food bits, pound cake can be traced back to an 18th century cookbook called The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy. Now,
it was The Art of Fuckery.
Yeah, that too.
Sorry, I was the first in 25 to drop an F-bomb, by the way.
That's porn cake. Not pound cake.
Oh.
You said thick and dense, and moist. But listen to this. The recipe
Darla, there's a hair in the cake.
Is it curly or straight?
Well, that didn't take long. I thought 25 would be a total
Why?
For us.
Why would you think that? What? And you started it. I hope you're proud of yourself. I brought up pound cake, an innocent subject, all because I wanted to get to this fucking ingredients list. Guess to this. It called for. Guess how much flour for pound cake?
I don't know. How to cook
for pound cake.
A pound.
A pound of flour, right?
Okay,
and guess how much sugar?
A pound.
A pound of sugar. Put those two in a bowl. Add. Guess
Nothing.
how much? Guess how much butter?
Oh, a pound.
A pound. And then I guess how.
Better stop eating pound cake. Clearly.
A pound of eggs mixed in there together.
How do you even measure a pound of eggs? My God.
I don't know. But that sounds like a lot.
It sounds really good too.
Yeah.
Really outstanding. That and this tea.
Yeah,
I'm a happy boy.
I haven't had pound cake since I don't know. I was a kid. I don't think my mom made it.
Well, because only kids, only the metabolism of kids can handle pound cake. If you're over 15, it's over.
Like Sara Lee, remember Sara Lee?
Those are good.
Around?
Boy, I haven't come across, but I haven't shopped for frozen cakes lately. So because they are frozen, aren't they? You have to thaw them or something, or if you're impatient.
That was my biggest. Yeah, that was my biggest issue. I'd always be gnawing on a frozen pound cake, or they had frozen chocolate chip cheesecake. That was awesome.
I've never had that. That sounds good too. Man, I had a lot of cake yesterday. We had Costco cakes because we were celebrating the twins' birthday. Yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
How old?
16.
And those are the youngest.
Indeed.
16. Yes. Are they driving yet?
Neither really have interest at this time because Dad, drive me. But
that's the. I mean,
we'll see.
They scare the shit out of you when they drive, but then the other thing is, if you take them everywhere, you're going to be worn out, dude. If you're going to be driving them everywhere.
Well, luckily, this generation mostly just looks at the internet. Do that anywhere. Do that in your living room, the bathroom, basement. I don't have to drive them to the basement.
Not if they want to go out for pound cake. They're going to need to.
Of course. Or if I want to send them out for pound cake.
Right.
Real,
or, Dad, I'm going to go get a little slice of pound cake, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, boy. We've had that talk already. Let me tell you, that's a couple of years ago,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did that go? Did you bring it up or did they?
I did. I said avoid the hairy pound cake.
Hairy pound cake. That's a new disgusting. You just.
I'll go there. I'll go straight to hell.
Oh, look at the guy looking at her.
He doesn't believe her for a minute. He's like, "Hey, did you see what's laying here? Come on." Oh man, are you a big soda drinker besides Fresca?
I used to be.
Are you still pounding the Fresca? Speaking of pound,
Yes.
I know you love it.
I like. Well,
I like it too. It's good.
I like the bubbles. I drink water as much as I can, but I drink some of these things too.
Well, if I got those are carbonated.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I got a treat for you today,
What?
here you go. There's some classics there. How many
man.
do you remember that are like? Because there's your Fresco over the corner, but
yeah. Me and my RC. Like for many years,
I love RC.
You
know who locally has RC is Maxwell's. You can get on tap, RC on tap. At least a couple of years ago. I haven't tried it lately, but I remember going for a Taco Tuesday and they said, "Would you like a pitcher of soda?" We said, "Yeah, we'll have Coke." And they're like, "No, we only have RC." And I was like, "Oh, I love you."
Well, and you know why?
I don't.
Thank the Henkes for that, because our clients for many years were the 7-Up bottlers of the state, and the 7-Up brands had all the alternative stuff that weren't as popular. So you'd have 7-Up instead of Sprite. You had RC instead of Coke.
On. Not as popular as it should have been.
A&W root beer.
That's big. I mean, that always is,
instead of Diet Coke, we had Diet Right. So
that was bad. That was bad.
All the bars, well, not all the bars, but we got Maxwell's and we got Whistler's. I can't remember who else, but we got them to go with our guys. Kind of just nothing. Just say, give these guys a try. They're less expensive for the bars, and people
pretty weak sales pitch there, Henke.
Yeah. Well,
give these guys a try. I'd have gone in and said, like, if do you know what this place would look like as just sidewalk? Then take on the 7-Up.
Listen to the salesman. You're the ultimate salesman. You're like you and you used cars.
If it was on wheels, sure.
Did you sell any cars?
Oh, I did. Actually, a lot of people came to me because I didn't know anything about cars, and they loved that. And I would admit it. I said, they'd be like, "What can you tell me about this car?" I'm like, "Absolutely nothing. I hate cars." And they're like, "Wow, you're actually, kind of." Maybe they thought they could rip me off. They probably did. So it worked out well. That one, look at the one on the far right second shelf called Tahitian Treat from Canada Dry.
Oh, yeah. That was
tasty.
That was one of our brands.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, Canada Dry, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we had.
This is basically all your, besides the Coke products there, it's basically all the bulk of your brands here.
Yeah. For a while, it didn't last long, but I loved Diet RC, not Diet Right, Diet RC, because
I never had Diet RC.
It didn't last long. Diet RC had caffeine, so Diet Right was decaffeinated, which I still. But Tab, I remember Tab. My mom used to drink Tab.
Gross.
I loved it. I would steal it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nasty. No.
Yeah.
Did you ever have where I just saw it a moment ago? Not Bubble Up, which was basically 7-Up, right?
Did you? You know what's not on here is Big Red. Have you ever heard of Big Red?
Oh yeah, that was cinnamon. Bad. It was like cinnamon soda or something, wasn't it? Or something. It was weird.
It was like bubblegum flavored.
Yeah. Oh soda. God. Yeah, it was not good. There's Radar O'Reilly's favorite grape knee-high up there.
Oh, okay.
Hires. I didn't know Hires. I didn't.
Root beer.
Oh, is it root beer? Okay.
Yeah, Draft. See, it says Draft up there.
Oh, there we go. Double cola. I remember that. I don't remember
that.
Yeah, it was probably. And then what's this team up in the upper right-hand corner?
Looks like a Sprite.
Probably a Spritey thing. Yeah, absolutely. So, and Rudy. Oh, it must be root beer. Rudy root beer. There you go. All right. Real
okay.
Good. So, good stuff.
Coke, look at is that Coke right next to the Tahitian Treat and a funky
diamond? It is. I remember I remember the diamond cans. Yeah. I just remember, not even when I was alive, but like from when.
Not when you were alive.
But when friends would have, when I was dead, when friends would have can collect, like soda can, beer can collections and stuff.
Yeah, and those were a big deal. Does anybody have beer can collections anymore?
I don't think so. I think the market may have fallen out of that a little bit. My dad had it for a long time. We had the Billy Carter beer and everything, and
Billy beer.
Bet. Oh yeah, but it's. I think that's fallen out of favor. Stamp collecting. Do people still collect stamps? Is that a thing anymore? I mean, the post office, it's not a cheap date anymore. It used to be like, a dime, a nickel, and you could build your collection. Now you got to, mortgage your home.
FDR was a huge stamp collector.
It's a strange hobby. I did it for a little while because as a kid, it was like, I think I was in 4th grade, and they said, "Oh, it's great fun." So I did it for a few weeks and decided that it wasn't.
Yeah, You couldn't. I did beer can. In fact, we had a thing. They had like these plastic things you could put on the wall, and they'd have like a rip off thing you could stick the cans onto, so it would stick up there like a
Nice, like a double-sided tape type of thing. Or
yeah,
something?
yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
okay.
exactly. But
Yeah,
it
parents
was-
loved that when you took them down and left drywall chunks dangling off your bedroom wall.
Yeah, it was some. No one's done that in 40 years. I bet no one's
Yeah.
talked about beer cans. I mean, people
Yeah.
collect all kinds of shit, but
They do.
not beer cans.
I collect the heads of my enemies now, so it works out very well.
That's your second mafia reference.
Which leads me to advertise. Don't forget AJ Sports Mafia twice a week on CPL's
Sundays
not-
and Wednesdays. We've been
not
pretty
radio
consistent.
anymore. I guess we call it CPL Broadcasting. I don't know what the hell we are now. Well, I'll have to come up with a better title. I'll check with ChatGPT or the new Chinese one that torpedoed the stock market today.
Yes.
Which isn't good, but we'll get through. We'll get through.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
Interesting stuff. You want to talk about the writers group? What's going on with that?
We are trudging along.
The writers group being you started this collective of.
I collect desperate writers too.
Yes.
Speaking of collections and
Drink
finally-
Me High and Team and
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna put out our first annual, Lord willing, literary gazette, literary journal. Hopefully in May. That's still the target date. I think we're gonna be okay and make it. Yeah, I'm actually had a fruitful month, fruitfuler than Tahitian Treat. And
ooh,
got a
that'd
lot
be
of-
tough.
I know. I got a lot of pages cranked out. My screenplay is I'm at midpoint right now, and I have a first draft, and I'll bounce it off the group, and I'm going to put I'll have the lone screenplay, I guess, in the Literary Gazette, which will be kind of interesting and fun, and probably a layout nightmare, but I'll work on that. And a short story. I got a short story I'm cranking on too, so I'll have two pieces in there for fun, and hopefully you will as well.
Well, I have a short story. I'm retrofitting to meet the needs of the. What is it again? What's the name of it?
We're just calling it the Cedarburg Author Circle because
Yeah.
that's what we are. So
Yeah.
kept it easy.
Yeah, and you meet so people who don't know, you've organized a group for authors and writers who just love writing and meet the first Wednesday of every month
First Wednesday, yeah.
from 6:30 or
6:30 to 7:45.
7:45
or later.
at the library in the big meeting room where they have
Yeah.
the CNA club
That's true.
on other nights. Yeah, and it's a good group of people. Anybody
It
who's
is.
interested, I think they could still
Yeah,
join in.
anytime, and you just there's no version where you're I should have joined. I'm too late, and that's not the case.
Unless you're Gabby Hayes, he can't come back. And
no.
what's the guy with the accent who wouldn't shut up either? He thought he had to take the baton for Gabby.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna have a little. I'm gonna have a little tea right now, and we're gonna cut
That
to a
guy.
commercial.
Holy shit! But it's
No
it's
idea.
good, and I think anybody who's interested in writing ought to check it out.
It's fun, and
Yeah.
we're a pretty positive group. That was my only goal with the group because I've been in so many negative, writers groups. Maybe
You
it was,
wuss.
maybe it was me. Yeah,
No.
those full contact writers groups I didn't like too much. So,
This sucks.
Yeah,
Give it up.
exactly.
Go back to your.
I
day
mean, there's a
job.
place for that too. I mean, it's sometimes good to be raked over the coals, but not for our group. If you want that, you can join that other group, the one that says, we'll demoralize you and send you home crying. So, but not here.
Yeah. So it's a good group.
We have multiple published authors in our group. How many writers groups can claim that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there you
Carla.
go, Carla. You,
Me.
yeah. So
Um,
that's awesome. I mean, that's
Yep. But
I like that.
What I like is that you've got a core of that just shows up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here
Probably
they are.
half-
I have a
half
picture.
dozen. Okay.
Here they are. This is the writers group. So that's the group. Jim, Preston, Peter,
Every one of those guys
Cordell,
out there
and
was
Mike.
so cool.
Absolutely. So there we go. You have some grooming to do maybe before the next meeting. Grow your hair out, feather it, get the blow dryer out. You know what to do. Yeah. So the group's going well, and I think we're going to hit our target, and it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the whole road to publication and the problems and the the things we'll screw up on, and then next year will be better. And
Is there
But
a
I'm
word
looking forward to
limit
it.
again? Is there
we had sort of said like 30K. Oh no, 30K or 10.
30? That's a
10K.
lot.
10K. I'm
10K,
sorry. Yeah. 10K. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I know you. It's
Around.
We talked. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and so you're also working on screenplays with your writing partner again.
I am.
How's that going?
That's very good. He's we're gonna have 3 locked down to work with for 25, and we're actually going into. We're both at midpoint on into 2 individual projects that we'll kind of exchange, and either way, it'll still be a dual effort. But we're kind of doing first drafts of our own, and then multiple drafts afterwards with each other. And we have one that's already done and in the can. So we will have 3 scripts and a pilot to shop around for the remainder of 25 in a few months. And I'm looking forward to that. We really have never gone into major sales mode. Not for a long time. It's been a long time since we've tried that. So hopefully there's some Los Angeles left after it burned to a crisp.
Man,
but
terrible.
that was horrible. But I think the most of the movie industry was spared. I don't think it hit that section per se. So I think hopefully there's a business out there. But if not, we'll just go wherever the business is going to be, because movies ain't going anywhere.
What about that director, movie producer that we had on the show? She from
Whatchamacallit? Calvin was his
yes.
name, and that movie, I haven't talked to him in a while. I do want to reach out just because my kids are extras in the movie, so we went
I was going to say yeah.
So I got some skin in the game here. So I will reach out and I will report back, because I hope that movie. It was such a cool idea, and I loved the tone that he was going for, and I hope it sees light. You never know. I mean,
you never know.
Just because I know he finished filming. I mean, all the footage is shot, but sometimes you need an extra boost of money or boost of time to be able to post production the thing, and it's just just a
boost sometimes.
Yeah, rough waters.
Yeah, but if you love it, you got to stick with it.
Oh, he did. I mean, yeah, I think he loved it. He probably loved it more than me, because the last movie I tried to do, somewhere in the middle of shooting, I said, "Oh, I am too old for this."
You are not too old. Anybody. We'll get back to movies, but I'm going to talk about me. Enough about you. Let's talk about me.
Mm-hmm.
My novel writing I put that on hold while I have been doing all this online classes about writing online specifically. Yeah. And the guy who's the ringleader, or one of the ringleaders of the group, just has said, "Don't waste your time writing books unless you have an audience built first," which makes complete sense.
It does. It does.
It's hard to hear. You're like, you mean I can't just? But I put out one novel, you put it out there, everybody knows says thank you. It goes out into the black hole, and nobody ever hears about it.
Right.
Whether it's good or not is you just got to look out.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then you're just. But his point is, whether it's nonfiction, fiction, whatever, if you build your platform first, then you have a built-in platform for sales that can completely change.
You say
everything.
Built-in platform. That's always a little nebulous to me. Like, what does that even
it's not,
mean?
It used to be, but again, taking these and I've been taking these courses probably for 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
He has written every day online for 11 years in X, which was Twitter. He started on Medium. Medium's gone downhill. Substack now is a biggie. So that when you build, for example, you build followers, the most important thing you can do when you write online is get an email list. You get an email list so that with the way Substack works, it's really good for authors right now, and it's starting to get big, which is kind of scary, really big. But because it's so writer friendly, I mean, that's the thing.
The party's almost over.
Right,
it's getting big.
I know, but so if you're right on there, you can help you set up the newsletter that you get from me that you sign up for is a free version. You could always offer a free version of that, but once you start developing a base, you start developing extras and have a subscription that is not free in addition to the free.
Right.
So that's how you start building and making money while you're going, instead of just writing and giving it to people and not hearing anything ever again.
Absolutely.
So it's a fascinating world, and I post every day on X, but I haven't posted I'm not quite to once a week on Substack, but I'm like once every week and a half.
Okay.
So
that looks like the email I get as a
Yep.
Jack Substack. That works out well that it rhymes with your name too, because it's really, it's much more memorable. And then you just click through and you can read them.
You can read it. Yeah. Then you get access to all of the ones. I probably have 10 or so done right now.
Yeah.
Just keep rolling.
Absolutely.
And an essay, they call them newsletters, but basically they're essays, 500 to 2,000 words.
Sure.
Is the length that you're going. I'm going to finish one tonight and probably give it one look at with fresh eyes tomorrow morning before I send out the next one.
Okay.
So, it's an interesting thing. It's fun. If you like writing, you like writing. I mean, you just got to figure out how to make it work.
Right. It's funny
you.
because even when your friend said about, oh yeah, don't bother writing books. Well, you could even use Substack to just post a chapter a day, and then you'd have a book. I mean, so it's just, the delivery system is different, and you got to decide what you want to do. And I mean, I think that's gonna be a big part going forward of a lot of this stuff. Obviously, AI is in the news certainly for writers, and it's getting better. Everything about it is getting better.
It's getting better.
Scary,
but it doesn't. I've heard the new term. It doesn't have the human flavor.
No, you still, the one thing you really can't do. You can do it, but it won't pay off any dividends. You can't just say, "Hey, write my book. I want a scary novel about vampires," and it will give you a steaming heap of poop that you don't want to show anybody. But if you need organizational help, structural help, if it's your ideas and you give it to ChatGPT or whatever, it will lay things out for you and give you options and give you possibilities. And it's like having a collaborator. It's like being able to bounce something off someone. And that's great. That carves some time out of the process, really.
Exactly. As a writer, its most important feature, AI's most important feature is you have to be able to ask it clearly questions that it can do the mundane things that need to be done. And you can do it like nobody's business.
Yeah.
But it can't come up with an original idea because it's derivative by definition.
It's just scraping away, finding the internet and saying, "Oh, he said vampire movie. Well, it's going to be Dracula meets Love at First Bite with what's his name, George
Harrison?
George
Hamilton.
George Hamilton, yes, and Artie Johnson is Renfield. And you're like, I didn't want George Hamilton vampire. It doesn't know that unless you tell it,
right?
So
right,
yeah. It reflects you. It just ChatGPT just reflects what you are.
Yes.
And sometimes that's very difficult for people to be like, "Why is it so stupid?" I'm like, "Oh,
yeah."
Keep looking at it.
Yes, and it's great for search.
Yeah.
It's very helpful in a lot of ways. But the thing is, like, for somebody like me who writes humorous stuff, or at least I find it funny, my own stuff.
You do. I hear you're howling all day.
It's just great.
Across town.
Brilliant. But how do you, like, that's the thing. And another thing this guy said, if you make people laugh, that's a help newsletter. I mean, you don't have to try and invent something and be something you're not.
Right.
If you write stuff that people like and they're willing to pay for it, and you're making them feel better by reading your stuff, then it's an exchange for both. It's a good deal.
That's the deal. That's how you that's how you function.
Yeah.
You write something, people read it, and they might give you a nickel or two, and you're like, "Hey, this works."
Right.
The system works.
Yes, 1,000 nickels adds up. So
it's amazing.
We'll get into that.
Absolutely.
But we were talking about film before. I'm switching back off of writing now, and David Lynch. We lost him, and you kind of lost it online about him. What?
Just a little.
What is it about David Lynch that you think is? What would you say about him?
Well, the first thing I would say is that he's not ever going to be for everybody. So deal with it.
Right.
A lot of people are like, I watched Eraserhead. It just sucked. And it's like, well, I guess depending on what filter you used, you watched it through. Yeah, it probably does suck. But if you're into a movie that's like a waking nightmare that is full of interesting images that barely make sense, and you have to, then you're in seventh heaven because you can't do much better. I saw that movie at a very, very young age and was really interested in it because I was like, it was kind of forbidden fruit. We were like, "Oh, don't watch Eraserhead. It'll mess with your mind." And of course I said, "Really?"
Yeah. Too late.
Yeah, exactly. But he did stuff that nobody has done before and probably since. I mean, he borrows heavily from other filmmakers like anybody else, but then it's so Lynchian. It puts such a spin on it. And I actually, since he passed, I've been watching Twin Peaks, the TV series, which I didn't watch much of. when it was on.
Or you were
and
young.
Well, no, I was in my 20s, and I was
Were ya?
deep, and I was even more Lynch fixated than I am now. And they're right. It's great. And it's really timeless. Because he's obsessed with the 1950s. Everything has a 1950s look to it. I think like Douglas Sirk was All That Heaven Allows, and those kind of movies that were very schmaltzy and melodramatic. And he puts that in there, but then it's super edgy too, because there's some really sick shit in there. So he's taking the 1950s and just ramming it, straight on with modern depravity. And it's great. I mean, it's true. Blue Velvet is one of those movies that people
That's
love
a
or
mind
hate.
blower. That's
Loved
a mind blower.
I love it.
I don't love or hate it. It just blew me away. I thought it was
mission accomplished. Then,
yeah, I thought it was
mission
fascinating.
I mean, just having grown up in small towns, living in small towns, being in a library in a small town, he gets it. I'm sorry, but you don't want to know if you're in a small town and you think everything's perfect. Yeah, just turn the rock over.
Right.
And that's what he fixated on, especially with Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet. Very much so that he just,
What the other one I saw,
quirky guy. Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive. I was going to say Mulholland Falls.
That
that was
crazy.
it was crazy. The thing that I found very interesting about him, I found out through Mel Brooks. That Mel Brooks hired him to do The Elephant Man. Mel Brooks. The thing I guess is surprising about Mel Brooks too. You only think slapstick and stuff, but he had a very broad interest in classic movies, horror movies, avant-garde stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
And David Lynch was pretty much unknown except for Eraserhead.
Right.
When he hired him to do or someone recommended him, and they went and met with him, and just they hit it off, and he did a great job with Elephant Man.
Eraserhead took 5 years to make, and he would. Not every day, but he'd have spells where you're working on it for a few months and you run out of money, there's so many people who are artists now who are like, oh man, that took me like a week. I was just 5 years. 5 years he's committed to this insane movie about a guy in sort of an alternate universe who has this horrific baby, and then there's a girl singing in his radiator, and his head eventually is converted to something in a factory to make erasers. And there's this guy controlling the universe with these switches. Everything's gross and dripping, but 5 years. I mean, he's a consummate artist. I mean, and you don't see a lot of filmmakers, certainly in Hollywood or in America, that are like, I'm not a film director, I'm an artist. Because he was a painter and a sculptor and very hands-on. Like a lot of the physical effects that you see in the films and set design choices, it's all him. I mean, he would just spend 3 days on the set morphing it to his liking, and then he wouldn't even roll cameras until it was perfect. It had to be perfect. He was a quirky guy. He was
very quirky with a capital Q. A funny thing I read upon is you read all these things after someone passes, and I
bet it's Bob's Big Boy.
No, it was
Big
he
Boy
was
fan.
making. I don't know what movie he was making, but some producer who was a legendary pain in the ass they tipped David off that he was coming to. Have you known this one? He was coming. I don't know. He was coming to the set the next day. So the producer walks in, and everybody's like, "What's David gonna do?" And David goes up to the guy. He goes, "Oh my God! You have that face. You have a perfect face. We must get him into makeup right away. Take him." And the guy was like, "I do. I have a perfect face."
That's all you got to tell someone in Hollywood. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know."
I mean,
I do the best I can with.
What cracks me up about that is the guy knew how to play the game if he had to get stuff done. You have to be able to do that.
Yeah, you do. He had probably more hustle and moxie than somebody who thinks they know the game, but he came at it from a totally different angle. And when he was promoting a film of his called Inland Empire, he got a Chase Lounge and a live cow and sat on Hollywood and Vine Boulevard with his cow and just said, "You should see my movie, Inland Empire, and this is a cow." Everyone remembered the cow, and they were like, "Maybe I should look at that movie."
Right.
There you go. It's my favorite. Watching Twin Peaks, he plays one of the few times he actually plays in his own movie, his own series. He plays a FBI director who has severe hearing impaired, and he's got the old-fashioned hearing aid with like the thing they put in their pocket, like a transistor radio and the wire, and he would talk at the top. You just, and it's hilarious. He'd bring a couple of his agents to the back and say, "I have some delicate, sensitive information for you." And he'd walk him into the back and he'd be like, "You have to understand this killer is on." Like, there's a lot of humor, and that's the thing too. There's a lot of humor. There's more humor in Lynch's stuff. Unfortunately, it's so dark. The humor is so dark that people don't usually laugh except nervously. So, yeah, it's a big loss. There's really no contemporary. I don't know anybody else who's like, "Oh wow, there's our next David Lynch." I don't know who that is. There's a couple of wackadoodle film directors, the guys who like Poor Things and stuff, but
Yeah, yes. But the thing is, that's the thing, people see Lynch and they hear wild movies and they think they can just do weird shit, and it doesn't work. You still have to have that one thing that ties it all together.
Kind of
X factor, vision, and yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
no matter what it is.
There we go. Hey, we're at the half-hour mark,
right.
and I should probably return to work.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Right,
so we're gonna do this again, I think, right?
Yep.
Mondays
then, Yep. And then you will do the rebroadcast on Tuesdays at
Tomorrow.
7, and we will stitch in a Dr. Ben segment because he's been on fire lately as usual. Yeah. So and AJ,
maybe Dancing Girls. Not gonna promise anything, but I would.
Or Dancing Guys. I don't
sure. Maybe yes, absolutely.
Well, it would be Dancing Them. No, right?
It is. Yes, Dancing Thems. Okay, there we go. We're gonna make everyone happy. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, folks. We will do this again.
We're back.
We are back. We're back. We're front, the side, whatever.
Next week, I got the worst performances of 2024 in film for you.
Oh, fun. Absolutely. Hope maybe I'm on the list. All right, folks.
All right.
Return to your day. Go eat lunch. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
End stream. There we go. Are we?